The weight loss drug market is witnessing an unprecedented boom both globally and in India. From Ozempic and Wegovy to Mounjaro, now Pfizer's experimental monthly injection, Berobenadite obesity treatment is entering a new era. But the big question is, are these drugs a medical breakthrough or a dangerous shortcut? On one hand, obesity has become a major public health crisis. Nearly 1 in 4 Indian adults are overweight or obese, increasing the risk of diabetes, heart disease, and several other health complications. Experts say newer GLP-1 drugs can help patients lose 10 to 20% of their body weight, while improving blood sugar control and reducing cardiovascular risks. The arrival of cheaper generic versions in India has also made treatment more accessible. However, concerns remain. These drugs are expensive for many families, require long-term use, and can cause side effects such as nausea, vomiting, and digestive problems. Health experts also warn against self-medication and misuse, especially among young people seeking rapid weight loss for cosmetic reasons. Another concern is whether society is becoming too dependent on pharmaceutical solutions. Can a weekly or monthly injection replace healthy eating, regular exercise, and lifestyle changes? Critics argue, and these medicines may encourage a culture of quick fixes rather than substantiable health habits. India's obesity drug market is expected to grow rapidly over the next decade, with dozens of companies entering the sector. As demand surges, regulators face the challenge of ensuring safety and responsible use. And remember, if the one side is the surging demand for what is now increasingly being seen as shots for weight reduction, the flip side is the massive surge in India's obesity pandemic, from children to the elderly. I'm being joined by Dr. Shikha Sharma, One Health and veteran nutritionist, Dr. Nitin Kapoor, Honorary Secretary, South Asian Obesity Forum and Head of Department for the Endocrinology, Diabetes and Metabolism at CMC. Also Dr. Srijit N. Kumar, who's an endocrinologist as well as Senior Consultant, Diabetes Care Center. Thank you very much, all three of you, for joining me at this point. Well, let me start with you, Dr. Nitin Kapoor, at this point. You know, there are multiple sides to what we are discussing. You have Pfizer, who's come up with the latest. You've had the other drugs which are now far more easily accessible. The fact that the patent for some of them have already, you know, they are out of the patent zone. There's a rush for several pharmaceutical companies to get into that market as well. Now, the simple question, is this good? Is this bad? Or is there a larger gray area in between both of these?
Thank you for that question. I think you're addressing a very, very important topic here. Yes, these medicines have revolutionized the obesity management. If you look at the last 2 decades, we've had several medicines which have come and gone, none so effective as any of these. So I would say they are good if they are in the right hands, used with proper instructions in the right kind of patient. They can do wonders for them. But you know, if they are misused, as you rightly said, in younger individuals who are just looking at it as a shortcut, it can lead to terribly bad problems. We are seeing some of them already. But yes, overall, in the right hands, these are wonderful drugs.
I think, let me just take the second question from your first question itself. And maybe I can go to Dr. Srijit at this point. Dr. Srijit, right people, right hands. What does this mean? So if I am an obese person and I want to lose weight, am I the right person to have this in my hands? A simple, straight question, and I'm sure viewers want to know this as well.
No, see, as far as weight loss is concerned, you know, the lower an individual can weigh for his given body structure, the good it will be for him. There was a theory called personal fat threshold, which was put up by Dr. Roy Taylor et al. A couple of years back. And what that showed was, for the same individual, when they gain 1 or 2 BMI units, the chance for all metabolic diseases go high. And similarly, for the same individual, if they can lose 1 or 2 BMI units, the chance for metabolic diseases, especially diabetes, go low. So that means there is no such sort of threshold. Now, the ideal weight for anyone would be the weight which you had during your college days. And after that, whatever you have gained, whatever we have gained is fat. And this fat, we know, like putting a very famous definition by Dr. Taylor et al., metabolic diseases, especially diabetes, are the result of chronic excess intra-organ fat. That means if you have more fat inside your organs, especially the liver, that gets converted into all these metabolic diseases. So it's very important that we reduce the fat. And as you rightly pointed out, lifestyle measures do play a huge role, but practically many patients would get help from an additional boost by the weight reducing drugs as well. But then having said that, probably the right person, the right scenario, the right dose, the right drug has to be selected. So it's very important that's administered under medical supervision.
You know, I think there's so many layers to what both of you have spoken, and I do want to address them in detail. Dr. Shikha Sharma, let's get you in at this point. Celebrities after celebrities after celebrities are using them. Many of them have come out and spoken about how coping with the weight loss after these measures is hugely challenging. Oprah Winfrey has gone in public and spoken about that as well. You have many others who have spoken about it and not spoken about it. That's being one part of it. How different or how should an ordinary person really be viewing this? You know, because there was a time when you would have people flexing their muscles, working it out, sweating it out in the gyms. And that was a messaging that would come from celebrities, and you still have those gym pictures, but by far and few in comparison to what that was a separate industry by itself. You know, the airport look, before the airport look came, it was the gym look that used to be all over the place. That's no longer there. You don't have these celebrities working it out, sweating it, and I'm not saying they're not doing it. But that seems of a yesteryear, much of a year when I was younger than what, you know, my peers are in the newsroom today. Dr. Shikha.
See, I'll tell you, you know, what is the biggest problem today in the health industry? It is reducing human health to a single number. This extreme reductionist mindset is what is driving everything in the wrong direction. Let me give you an example. When we talk about health, it is not just about a weight number. It is not about that you weigh this much and that's why you are healthy. When we talk about diabetes or a healthy diabetic, it's not about your blood sugar is controlled and therefore now you're completely healthy. The problem is in the narrative. The problem is that we are becoming extremely reductionist in understanding health, in communicating health, and that is why people think that, oh, if today, so let me give you an example. Sumo wrestlers are extremely healthy, but they are not of their target weight. There are a lot of people who are above their weight, but they're extremely healthy. So when we talk only in reductionist numbers, we really change the whole discourse and narrative in the wrong direction. And I'll give you certain examples. There was a time when ghee was considered bad, and when butter was considered bad, and there was a huge industry of margarine, which is 10 times worse than ghee or butter. Why? Because we did not explain that how blocks happen in the heart. We simply went out and said butter is bad, ghee is bad. And the margarine industry came, which was worse because it was hydrogen gas going through oil and creating margarine. Second thing, we said sugar is bad. Don't eat sugar. What has happened? We have chemical sugar in the market. So diabetics are eating chemical sugar. It could be any one of the brands. That's not important, but it's chemical sugar as sugar alternatives, thinking, oh, sugar is bad, so this chemical sugar is a better alternative. Similarly, when we talk about lose weight itself will not make you healthy. How you're losing weight, what is the nutrition you're getting? Because the body actually is made from food. Now, if you're going to be starving yourself, having low calorie diets, just knocking off weight by XYZ methods, but actually your heart health is going down, your muscle health is going down, your brain health is going down. There is huge nutritional deficiency in your body. How are we calling it healthy? So I think the whole narrative of health has to change from a number to actually what health means. And unless that is taught at every level in medical colleges, in nutrition colleges, in schools and colleges, people will always go to these extreme measures to be a certain way.
Okay.
So
Okay, Dr. Nitin Kapoor, come in at this point, and I want to, while Dr. Shikhar does make a whole lot of sense that it's not just about numbers, I do want to throw in some numbers at this point, just for our viewers to really get a sense of what we're really talking and why this industry is blooming. One is, of course, the pressure of how one needs to look. All that is being told to us that we need to look a certain size, we need to fit in certain way. That being one part of it, and that's a very cosmetic thing. But a much deeper challenge before us, and I'm comparing NFHS 5 with the NFHS 6 data. Women between the age group of 15 to 49 saw a jump of at least from 24% to 30.7% when it came to obesity. Men between the age group of 15 to 49 saw, a jump of at least 5 to 6%. And this is, again, these are just some sample figures that we have, mainstream sample figures. There's data separately about how there seems to be a pandemic of obesity among children, particularly teenagers in India. There is a lifestyle issue. Of course, there is a lifestyle issue, and that needs to get treated, more awareness and all of that. But can this be a solution to that? Because definitely the picture that we are looking at in terms of obesity is not good. And obesity, whether we like it or not, has direct link to a whole lot of other diseases, very often direct link.
Right. So I think what we need to know is, yes, I agree with you. NFHS 5 to 6, there's a rapid jump, but this is not new. If you look at NFHS 4 to 5, there was a rapid jump there as well, very similar to what we see now. So this pandemic has been increasing rapidly over the last 10 years. Now, if you're asking me whether these newer jabs are the solution to the whole obesity pandemic, in short, I would say this is just part of a bigger picture of management. This is just a small part. Not everybody can afford it. Not everybody can get it. It's not treatment for the masses that we have at this point. There has to be still a lot more in terms of nutrition, in terms of lifestyle education, in terms of a lot of preventive aspects that need to be drilled into our school systems and college systems, and a whole lot of other measures. So I would say this is just part of the management picture. The bigger picture is much bigger, because this cannot be just a single answer to this very, very complex problem.
Dr. Nitin, so you just made this point, and that is, it's not affordable. But there's a flip side to it. Fair enough, it's not affordable to everyone, but if it is affordable, can they look into it? Should they look into it?
If it's affordable, yes, many more people would be on it, the way we manage diabetes, the way we manage blood pressure. Similarly, these newer drugs, the ones which have lost its patent, definitely the usage has gone up remarkably. But when the usage goes up, there is also the flip side of it, of its misuse going up. It's just not the doctors prescribing it. Today, there are gym trainers. You just spoke about Munjaro Brides a couple of episodes before. And there's so much of misuse that's going up as well. So I would say, we still have to be a bit cautious the way the drug is being marketed and regulated in the Indian market, where one can just walk into a pharmacy and get a drug. But now regulations are being put in place that a qualified doctor's prescription, only a few specialists, an internist or an endocrinologist alone can prescribe these drugs. But I still would say this is just not a 100% solution to this big problem of NFHS 6 data that we just saw.
Dr. Srijit, now the other side of it, can you just take us through, are these safe? We've been trained in a way that says if something is getting injected, it'll always have a consequence. One desired and one that will follow in some way. So talk us through this. If at all somebody is resorting to this under medical guidance or is seeking to do so, are there concerns around this? Is there enough studies? Is there enough sample data out there to see that it doesn't have any long-term effect, or it does? Can that be proved? Has that been proved?
In one word, I'll say it's safe. But before that, let me come to one or two basic points which were mentioned earlier. Now, we just cannot say that, the whole catastrophe is because of lifestyle. Yes, it is due to lifestyle. And can you believe that in 1972 the prevalence of diabetes in India was just 2%? Contrast that with the 83% metabolic diseases which occurred, which were seen in the ICMR index study 2 years back. So that means there is a huge problem with lifestyle. And whatever we are assuming as good food is not good food. Actually, we don't belong to this century or this decade or even this millennia. We are in this planet for the last 25 lakh years, almost, and last 3 lakh years, sapiens. And we never ate any grains and any of these food until 10,000 years back when the agriculture came. So there is a whole need for a complete relook at what we are eating and how many times we are eating. And one more thing, let me tell you, like if someone goes on, if someone opts to take this injection, it is very, very important that a good food and optimal exercise is maintained. Because if they don't exercise, they will lose muscles also. So if they have to burn fat and preserve muscles, even if they were not exercising previously, it is very important they start exercising and eat a lot of vegetables and take adequate protein.
This is an interesting point you're mentioning, Dr. Srijit. This is an interesting point, and I want to spend a minute on this for our viewers as well. So unless you are really unless you're really struggling with an extreme health concern, why not just spend that time that you need to spend in exercising and eat right, take a longer time to get the results that may be more sustainable than go through the medicine or through the shot or through the jabs? Is it just because you don't have the time? I don't know if I'm making sense with that question. I'm sure there are many who are talking about this to you. Dr. Srijit.
What you need to understand is this is not something in lieu of diet and exercise. Diet and exercise would continue. This is something which we would compare with a bariatric surgery. You do a bariatric surgery and the patient reduces 15, 20 kilo weight. Now, we are not talking about those people with 50 kilo, 60 kilo or 70 kilo. We are talking about those people with 80, 90, 100, 120. And we are looking at a weight difference of, let's say, 5, 10, 15, 20 kilos. And if you have to achieve that, you cannot achieve that with lifestyle, because if you do it with lifestyle, it's bound to come back. So that's why I told that patient selection has to be important. But then when you take this drug, then again, I'm emphasizing again, in addition to good food and exercise. Because it's not that you do away with good food and exercise. And the notion that you can exercise and get rid of your calories is wrong. Because if you exercise for half an hour or 45 minutes on a treadmill and look at how many calories you've burned, you'd be lucky if you have burned 100 or 200 calories. And one samosa has something like 200 to 250 calories.
Dr. Srijit, you are putting us into great trouble. You are not only talking about, on a much lighter note, it's going to be very hard to go back and hit the gym after listening to this discussion.
Let me tell you something, Sneha. See, exercise is not optional. Exercise is essential. You have to build your muscles. But don't mistake that exercise is the last thing which can produce weight loss. So it is not meant for a healthy body. There's absolutely no doubt. 6 days a week or 7 days a week, you have to do aerobics. 3 to 4 days a week, more important, you have to do muscle exercises. That's absolutely important for your heart. But if you have to reduce your body fat, then beyond diet and exercise, I'm not telling in every patient, every person, not patient, every person, if you're Homo sapiens, should observe good food and do good exercise. Right. But in those situations where it's clinically indicated, now this is a wonderful choice which we have in a hand which is fairly safe.
All right, Dr. Shikha, do you want to just take us through, in a world which every day changes the norm of how to eat? I think there are so many diets that have come and gone. There was a time when we were raised saying you should eat balanced diet. And now everybody, irrespective of what diet you follow, says ensure that you have proteins and X number of proteins. Particularly, there seems to be a lot of studies that also say about how Indians' growth seems to be stunted. Their children growth is no longer as you compare to the international levels, particularly because of what seems to be the lack of protein that's consumed by the body sufficiently. Dr. Shikha, what's good food? Your 2 minutes.
Fundamentally, let's first understand good food or nutritious food need not be boring. And that is one thing I would really like to tell everybody, that boiled loki is not good food. So taste is a very much ingredient of good food, because taste is what kicks your hormones and that makes you feel happy and satiety. So number one, what I would say is vegetables. Now, in India, we're not having enough vegetables. We are limited to having chana or rajma or paneer. And even in wealthy Indians who can afford to eat good food, their plate does not have enough vegetables. Now, vegetables come in three forms, let's say. One is a salad kind of thing. So, two plates of salad is an essential for its enzymes and for its hydration and for its fiber. Second thing is, it's very important to understand that when we talk about good food, it is not limited to only proteins, carbs. It is how the food is cooked. So if you cook the food badly, you actually lose a lot of nutrition. And what you think you're getting, you're not really getting. Gut health is important. That means when you're having food, and like you just mentioned, that you cannot burn out a bad diet. So whether it is a refried oil you're using or a refried oil in a samosa on a street cart, you can't burn out a bad diet. A bad diet will stick in your body. So, and but that does not mean exercise is only for losing weight. Exercise is actually important for your gut, for your circulation, for your muscle, and for your brain. So, good food, I would say vegetables and salads. I would say it is very important to have natural food. That means no ketchups, no sauces, more of hari chutney. Having soup, some of these so-called superfoods, I wouldn't call them superfoods, I'll call them functional foods, like whether it's amla or adrak or elaichi. In Ayurveda, in our ancient tradition, there were so many good foods which were available and which had medicinal properties. I think we have to understand those medicinal properties. Then, what is very important is that it is not only important to look at numbers, I would say, because when people say have more protein, instead of having more natural protein, people will have a protein bar or a protein shake or protein in a box. So, what I'm saying is the mentality of a quick fix has to change, because nutrition is for life. It is not just for a week or 2 weeks or for a birthday
Right.
before. So, whether you're having protein, it is a lifelong protein. It's not a protein in a box. So, when I'm saying fruits and vegetables and salads, I will say only one thing needs to change. India needs to change its relationship with food and develop healthy habits. Because one day a week having healthy stuff will not conquer diseases, because the rest
Right.
of the week you're going back to bad habits.
Right. I just wish I had more time because this has so many layers and we've barely started. But the time is up. I do hope we'll have another sequel to this. Dr. Shikha Sharma, Dr. Nitin Kapoor, as well as Dr. Srijit, thank you very much for your time.